Hello YouTube. This is a quick video in response to questions about whether Jupiter has tilted on its axis. There have been some pictures being posted which show Jupiter before and after photos. They show Jupiter on one date tilted one way, and they show Jupiter on another date tilted another way, and the claim has been made that Jupiter has tilted on its axis for some reason. Some people are blaming Nibiru, other people are linking it to 21st December, and other people have other explanations. So we're going to have a look and see if we can see what's going on with Jupiter. Is there a reasonable logical explanation, or is there something strange going on? Here we see Jupiter. This is 18 minutes past 7 p.m. Daylight Saving Time, New Zealand. My location is set to Wellington, New Zealand, and we can see that Jupiter is just on the horizon. It's about to rise. So we're looking northeast at the moment. Remember, I'm in the southern hemisphere, which means that from my point of view, Jupiter and the Sun and the Moon and the planets will appear to cross over in the northern sky. If I'm in the northern hemisphere, then I've got the opposite view, where the planets appear to cross over in the southern sky. If I'm nearer the equator, then they will be crossing over more or less directly overhead. Okay, so this is a southern hemisphere view. I've got Jupiter centered, and what I want to do is I'm going to speed up time so that we can watch Jupiter cross the sky. So we're going from the northeast, and just keep an eye on the time there. As we can see, we're coming up to 9 p.m. at the moment, and I want you to notice the line. The green line is the ecliptic, which is the apparent path that the Sun and the planets take across the sky. Notice it's starting to flatten out now as we're at the midpoint, and now it is actually sort of tilting the other way. This is because of the rotation of the Earth. So here we are. I'm just going to stop this in a minute. We're looking west-northwest now. Jupiter is about to set in the northwest. And again, that's a southern hemisphere view. The other thing to notice is we've got Orion here, and we can see the belt, Orion's belt, the three stars here. We can see the three stars. Well, it's actually two stars in a nebula really, and Orion. If I zoom this in for you, you can see Orion clearly there. We've got the three stars along the bottom. This is also known as the pot. A lot of people are familiar with this as the pot instead of Orion, but I want you to notice the angle of the stars on the bottom of the pot there, or Orion's belt, and also in the handle of the pot, or Orion's sword. Okay, I'm going to run this backwards again so that you can have another look at that. I've just got to center Jupiter. Okay, so as I run it backwards, just keep an eye on this line here, the ecliptic line, and also the angle of the stars in Orion, and you'll notice that as we go backwards, the angle of Orion is going to change considerably. So looking at these stars here, you can see that they're going to be upright soon, going to be vertical. I'll pause it when we get to that point. Okay, so now we can see that the stars in Orion here in the sword, or the handle of the pot, whatever you want to call it, are basically vertical. I'll carry on. We're going backwards again, remember, and you can see that those stars are now actually tilting to the right, and the three stars in Orion's belt, probably a bit hard to see now. In fact, I'll turn off the daylight. Where are we? Hide daylight. You can see that the three stars in Orion's belt now are actually horizontal, whereas before they were almost vertical when they were over here. Okay, so let's carry on. Remember that I've turned off the daylight, so this point in time it would be getting lighter. This time we're going to do the same thing, but I'm going to zoom right into Jupiter. I've shown you what happens as Jupiter crosses the sky. This time we're going to zoom right in and see what happens to Jupiter. Okay, so here's a good zoomed up view. Again, keep an eye on the time here. It is coming up 20 to 8 p.m. And we can see the cloud belts on Jupiter. Remember, this is not a live view, it's just a simulated view in Starry Night Pro, but it's still accurate as to what we'd see if we're looking through a telescope. So again, I'm going to run this forward, and I want you to watch what happens to the angle of those cloud belts as Jupiter progresses across the sky. So 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, coming up 12 o'clock. There we go. I'm just going to pause it there, and I'm going to zoom back out again so we can see where Jupiter is in the sky. Okay, so we can see that we're looking north. Again, I'm in the southern hemisphere, so that's why it's in the north. So Jupiter it's come from here, it's following the ecliptic line, and as it does, we can see the tilt of those cloud belts are actually changing. So now that you can see where Jupiter is in the sky, I'm going to zoom back in again, and we'll carry on. And as you can see, Jupiter is now tilting the other way, coming up 2 a.m, 3 a.m. So now we're completely tilted the other way, aren't we? So this is actually what's going on. I'm going to zoom back out again. The other thing that can affect the apparent tilt of the planets, such as Jupiter or Saturn or any of the others, of course it's a bit easier to tell with Jupiter and Saturn because of their features, but the other thing that can affect the apparent tilt are the relative positions around the Sun. Obviously, when we're looking at Jupiter from the Earth, well, 6 months later, the Earth is going to be on the other side of the Sun, so our relative viewing angle is going to be different, and the orbits of the planets are not flat with the plane of the Sun. They are at a tilt. The tilt of the orbits of the planets do vary, and so this means at different times of the year the relative tilts between the orbits of the planets are going to be different. So when you look at Jupiter or Saturn at different times of the year, then the apparent tilt will be different. So as we can see, there are three main factors that affect the apparent tilt. The first one is the position of the planet in the sky, as we've seen from this video. The second one is our latitude, or our position on the Earth, and our relative viewing angle, depending on whether we're standing on our feet or standing on our heads, so to speak, if you're in the southern hemisphere. The third thing is the tilt of the orbits around the Sun and the position of the planets at the different times of the year. And then to add a fourth thing is, whenever we take pictures of the planets through a telescope, we attach a camera, obviously, and the orientation of the camera can also be different. If the camera is slightly rotated on the telescope, then obviously the tilt will appear to be different as well. This is the same as if you're taking a photograph with your camera and you're holding it, instead of holding it upright or horizontal, you are holding it, say, at a 45-degree angle. It's the same sort of thing. So hopefully this has helped clear up those questions, and if there are any questions, please leave a comment, and as always, do check out my Facebook discussion page, Voices of Reason to Explain X, V.O.R.T.E.X. I'll put a link in the description area for you. Thank you for watching.